We are back live on YouTube, not live. This is pre-recorded if you didn't know that already. And I'm actually recording this for the second time for you lucky lot. Pretty much because the first time I fucked up. But in today's video, I wanted to go through the exact steps that I take when it comes to a new client coming on board, and it's going to give you a 5-step strategy that you can take with your training to ensure that you're setting it up in the best possible way and you're giving yourself the best possible opportunity to see results. Often what I see with people when it comes to training is just winging it. They don't really know what exercises they should be doing, what sets, what reps, what rest. And so they end up either going into the gym and winging it and just sort of hoping for the best and seeing what's free. Or on the other hand, they'll just stick to the same exercises, sets, reps they've always done and sort of hope to see a different result. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through, as I say, my 5-step strategy to help you actually understand how to get stronger, fitter, faster, how to manage your training, how to plan it for your week, how to split it up, and how to create a training program specific to you that is going to give you the results that you want. So, c'est la vie. That is what's on today's cards. As I say, what I find with training is people will often wing it. And do not get me wrong, I have been in exactly the same position. Rewind 5, 10, 15 years ago, I was doing exactly the same thing. And actually, a couple of things stands out to me where I can recall exactly what happened. Number one was me and a few mates got picked to go to France. It was basically a rugby training camp. There was a few of us from Argyll and Bute that basically got picked to go and train in Perpignan with the sort of Glasgow regional / West squad. We went over and I remember we'd been there a good few days. We'd done a few sort of training sessions out on the pitch, and then it came to this day where we were in the gym. And I remember we walked in, I was standing with a few boys from sort of Mull. Everyone was getting out their sort of training programs. The coaches were like, right, go and start your training programs. We'll come round and sort of check form, whatever it was. And I remember we looked at each other, not a clue where to start. Never seen a training program, never really been in a gym before, never lifted weights. So we did the classic go-to moves. We went and did some bench and we went and did some bicep curls. That was literally it because that's all we knew. But remember, that was where I first realised I've not got a clue what I'm doing in the gym. Second of all was a few years later when I was in college. I was training more consistently, but I was still very much winging it. And at this point, I had moved from not knowing what I was doing altogether to doing workouts out of a magazine. Men's Health magazine was the go-to, and I would just literally follow the workouts in there. The film 300 had come out, and the front cover was Gerard Butler topless, looking like an absolute animal, Greek god, savage. I remember the front cover said something like, try this Spartan workout to look like the cast of 300, something along those lines. And I was like, that is it. That is exactly what I need. That is the ticket to the body that I want. Fast forward 2-3 months of me doing that 2-3 times a week alongside rugby, zero changes. And actually the workout was literally a variety of exercises totaling 300 reps. That was literally it. But both of those things stand out in my head because there are times where I've realised, like, right, winging it is not what I need to be doing, and doing random workouts isn't going to get me to where I want to be. So by the end of this video, you're going to have my 5-step strategy to be able to overcome that stuff, to understand how you can put together your own training programs that actually see results. And of course, avoid the mistakes that I made. Alternatively, you could just sign up to the program and I'll do it all for you, but I'll give you the 5-step strategy to start and we can go from there. So we'll get the old trusty iPad out again because this is going to walk you through the 5-step strategy that you can take and how you can map out your training. And step one is going to be how often you can train. So I'm going to write frequency. CY, looks about right. Gonna, of course, make it a nice, sexy, we'll go red. Frequency. So obviously frequency is how often you can train. Now, the way that I would look at this is thinking about what is the absolute minimum number of sessions that you can do a week. And these are going to form the base of your training. So as an example, if you can now do 3 sessions a week and sometimes do 4, and 3 times a week is what your gym sessions will be planned around. If you can do 4 as an absolute minimum, but sometimes extra, then exactly the same thing, aim for 4. And if you can do 5, then even better. Now, what I'm going to do in a little minute is explain how you can split up your gym work and your fitness so that you're not just focusing on one and you can get the best of both worlds. But for now, think about how frequently you can train, what is the minimum, and what's going to work around your commitments, your lifestyle, potentially if you play sport, like what's going to be doable for you and what can you most importantly be consistent with every single week. Which takes us on to step 2. Now, step number 2, step numero 2, will be what is your goal? Because really, it's going to come back to what do you want to be able to achieve, what are your priorities, and what is the sort of main things that you want to focus on. The reason that I say this is because if you can train, let's say 4 times a week, and you've got no goals of sort of improving your fitness, of running further, of running faster, and it's just, right, I want to get into good shape and I want to basically lift weights, then your gym program is going to be centered around the gym, and it will be 4 sessions a week in the gym. Whereas actually, if you're now, right, I want to be able to get stronger, yes, but I also want to get fitter, I want to start running, then that's going to impact, right, we'll probably go to then 3 in 1 gym session. So having that understanding of what it actually is that you want to be able to achieve is going to be super important. And as an example, if it's anything fat loss related and say you want to drop a stone, then of course 80% of the stuff's still going to come back to nutrition. Make sure to watch last week's video because that'll walk and talk you through the main things that you should be focusing on, but it's not going to necessarily change anything training wise. It's still going to be gym work, it's still going to be a little bit of fitness work or running if that's something you want to be able to do. But goals, by goals I mean predominantly, right, is it just sort of getting stronger? Is it prioritizing sort of the physique side of things and the way that you look, or is there sort of a fitness component as well? Because that will change how your sort of training is split up, which takes me into step 3. And step 3 is your training split. Now, this is going to be your training split is going to be super important because actually this is going to be dictated by the top 2, by the frequency and the goal. Because if you want to be able to get stronger, but also run a faster 5k or run further, or just sort of start to include some sort of running work or some sort of fitness work, you're going to want to go 3 gym sessions plus 1 run. If you want to prioritize running more, then it might be even 2 and 2. But for now, and for the majority of people, I would probably say 3 and 1 is going to be more beneficial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out the best training splits I think you should follow for each training frequency. So if you're training 3 times a week, if you're training 4 times a week, and if you're training 5 times a week. So starting with 3 times a week, you could do 3 times full body. You could do 2 times full body plus 1 run or fitness, or you could do upper, lower, full body. Now, for the majority of people, I would probably say upper, lower, full body is going to be the best approach. As I say, you've got the other 2 options as well. 4 sessions a week, if you wanted to focus on the gym side of things, I would 100% go upper, lower, upper, lower. That's going to give you a good sort of balanced approach in regards to the gym. You could also do 3 times full body plus 1 run or whatever it is. Or my go-to would be upper, lower, FB plus 1 run. So upper, lower, full body plus 1 run, because then you're getting a mixture of the gym, you're getting a good solid 3 gym sessions in, plus you're getting a run in. That's essentially going to give you the best of both worlds. It's going to give you the strength aspect, it's going to give you the fitness side of things. Even if you're working up towards on a faster 5k, you want to run your first half marathon, you want to PB your half marathon, 1 run a week is going to give you a solid base, and then you can always add in an extra session if you got to a point where you wanted to, or also you could obviously go to 5 times a week where you're doing 2 runs a week rather than just 1 run. And then for 5 times a week, you could do upper, lower plus 1 run. Or you could also do upper, lower, full body plus 2 runs. Now, if you think about goals, most people within the program want to be able to not just get strong and not just look good, but also be able to run, also be able to be fit, and they want to basically look, feel strong, fit, athletic. Whereas other people, it might just be like, right, I just want to get strong, but bothered about sort of fitness. Therefore, for them, you could do something like push, pull, legs, upper, lower, as an example. But with the sort of stellar training I do, with the want to sort of be strong, fit, athletic, and wanting to not just be strong and look good, but also be able to sort of run and move well and be fit and all those good things, for me and for most clients, I would probably go upper, lower, full body, and then 2 runs as well. So with that being said, I'll just highlight a few of the main ones that I would go to. 3 times a week, I would probably go upper, lower, full body. If it was 4 times a week, upper, lower, full body plus 1 run. 5 times a week, I would probably go upper, lower, full body and 2 runs. But that is probably the way that I'd go about it. And that is not including, for example, right now I am training for the 777 challenge. I'm also trying to play rugby, but I'm also trying to get gym sessions in as well. So rather than having upper, lower, full body, my training split just now gym wise is upper, lower, upper. I found that I much prefer 2 upper body sessions through the week, 1 lower body, and then I've obviously got the runs on top of that. So a lot of this is going to come back to you, personal preference, mapping it out around sort of what's going to be doable, your goals, how often you can train, etc. But hopefully you're finding this useful so far, and if you are, you will absolutely love my 30 ways in 30 days to get a body you're proud of and to feel fitter than you have in years. If so, then hit the link in the bio below and you can get them there. You can unsubscribe at any time, it's completely free, and it gives you 30 ways in 30 days. What's to lose? Anyway, step number 4 is actually when. Run out of colours. When should you actually do these sessions? Because without actually knowing your life inside out, it's going to be very, very hard for me to give you an actual framework. But the way that I would think about this is if you're doing upper, lower, full body, you can do upper and lower on consecutive days because your upper body isn't going to affect your lower body. But then you want to ensure that you've got at least a day rest, ideally 2 days rest, before doing full body. Also, whenever you're doing upper and lower together, so that might be 4 days a week, upper, lower, or it might be even 3 days, I would always try and do the upper body first. Reason being, if you're doing things like shoulder press, then you might sort of feel that that fatigues your lower back a little bit. So then if you're going to go into squats, then obviously that's not going to be beneficial. Therefore, most of the time I will start someone's week with an upper body session because it means that they can then feel fresh going into lower body. Also, lower body is going to be more fatiguing. It's going to take more out of you. So you can go into that rather than doing that first and then being fatigued for the upper body session the following day. Anytime you're doing deadlifts, I would try and keep that towards the last session of the week. Reason being, it's going to be very taxing on the body. It can beat up your sort of lower back. Therefore, you want to maximize recovery off the back of that session. But other than that, it's really going to come back to, right, when can you do the sessions? When can you be consistent? Obviously, in an ideal world, something like Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be good in regards to gym sessions. And if you're doing 4 times a week, then generally Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be ideal. But then when you're adding in running and various different things, and obviously the more you're training, the more difficult it gets. But as I say, it's very difficult to give you an absolute framework because it's going to come down to what you've got on, when you can actually train, what sort of time you've got, what you've got on in regards to sort of commitments, etc. But I would think about mapping out your week. What days can I train? And then basically work back from there, put in your training split and work it like that. And then finally, number 5, step numero 5, we have each individual training session. I'm just going to write training. Keep it simple. That's how we like it. Training. So when it comes to training, this is going to be each individual session. So this is always going to be the last step, actually planning out, right, I've got upper body, I've got lower body, I've got full body, I've got run 1, I've got run 2. That's a 5 times a week example. But this is where you now have to put together the individual sessions. Truth be told, this is a whole other video in itself. This is something that I might do in the future. But as a very basic example, let's say you're going to do upper body. The way that I like to do it is a push and a pull is always going to be supersets. Reason I like to superset them is basically it's going to allow you to get more done in less time, and you're also working opposing muscle groups. So let's say you're doing a superset of barbell shoulder press and chin-ups. If you can't do chin-ups, you can swap that for lat pull down. That means you've got to press a vertical press and then you've got a vertical pull. You can get more work done in less time rather than doing all 3 sets of shoulder press, all 3 sets of pull-ups, and then onto the third exercise, you can do 1 set of shoulder press, you can do 1 set of pull-ups, you can then do set 2, set 2, set 3, set 3. Obviously, it's not going to be doable all the time. If you're in a busy gym, if the equipment's sort of far apart, then obviously you can't. But that's the way I'll sort of generally programming it. And if clients can't do it, then they just won't superset it and they'll just do 3 sets or 4 sets or whatever it is on the first exercise, second, etc. Now, if that's the first superset, vertical press and a vertical pull, you always want to keep in mind the 90-90 rule. And within a gym session, that means that if you've pressed or pulled vertically for the first exercise, then the next one you want a horizontal, pressing this way or pulling this way. So as an example, if you start the session with some form of shoulder press, whether it's barbell, dumbbells, the press for the second superset should be horizontal press. So that might be a dumbbell bench press, it might be press up variations, exactly the same with the pull. If you've got a vertical pull to start, then you want some sort of horizontal pull. So that might be single arm rows, it might be seated rows, it might be single arm cable rows, it might be a bent over row. These are all just different examples, but that means that all of a sudden you've gone from having a vertical press and a vertical pull, you've now got a horizontal push and a horizontal pull. All of a sudden you've done 2 supersets, you've got a ton of work done, and then to finish that upper body session, I would probably do some sort of arms. So triceps, first of all, supersetted with biceps, second exercise. That would literally be it. And that's a super quick, easy session that you can put together. You can go to the gym and literally go and give it a go. If you're doing lower body, that might look something like some sort of variation of a squat. It might then be some sort of single leg exercise, so maybe dumbbell split squat, might be some sort of lunge into some sort of hamstring curl, maybe then a quad exercise, so some form of leg extension, supersetted with maybe a core exercise. As an example, that's a 5 exercise lower body session that again you can literally go and do. And then full body, if you've done a squat on the lower body day, it might be a deadlift variation, so it might be trap bar deadlift. I would then go into a push and a pull superset. So if the main superset on the first day was vertical press, I would then go a horizontal press and pull. So if barbell shoulder press and chin-ups was day 1, I would then potentially do something like bench press, supersetted with maybe another chin-up variation, but another grip. So let's say we've done chin-ups underhand grip on the first day, it might be neutral grip, or we could look at doing something like bent over rows, which is then going to be the 90 degree principle, but from session to session. Full body, so far we've got trap bar deadlifts, we've got a push, we've got a pull. It then might be some form of single leg exercise, so maybe some sort of lunge, some sort of split squat, single leg press, something like that. And then it might be another push and pull superset, but it might be the other one. So you've already done horizontal press and pull, so it might now be a vertical. It might be something like a single arm dumbbell shoulder press, lateral raises, something along those lines, supersetted with a pulling exercise. And then you might go into a little bit of fitness or a circuit to finish. With the fitness side of things, it might literally be 3 rounds of 4 exercises. So that might be something like 10 calorie ski, 10 lunges, 10 leg raises, 10 world's greatest stretch. World's greatest stretch, by the way, is the absolute go-to of stretches. I use it a lot in clients' programs. We do it at rugby. The boys absolutely hate me for it, but world's greatest stretch, you heard it here first. And that's literally it. That is 3 sessions that you can do, that you can literally put together by yourself, that you can go and try, and all of a sudden you've got upper, lower, full body. As I say, there's too much to go into to actually go through specifics in regards to programs, in regards to how to put together the sessions. The runs is a whole different ballpark as well. But that's now 5 steps that you can go and implement into your own sort of training. So think about number 1, frequency. How often can you train? What's the minimum that you can commit to? From that, think about your goal. Right, what is my goal? What do I want to basically achieve? Do I want to be able to get stronger and fitter? Do I want to be able to run? Have you got running goals? Or is it just actually, right, I want to sort of look a bit better? Then we're into the split. That's going to be dictated by frequency and goals. Go to 3 times a week would be upper lower full body. Go to 4 times a week would be upper lower full body plus a run. 5 times a week would be upper lower full body plus 2 runs. Then we're into when, so that's going to very much come down to you, when you can train, when's going to work best for you, and really sort of mapping out your week. The way that actually I like to do that is just literally go like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Drawing is not a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. From there you can basically be right, upper body, lower body, full body. Maybe I'll do a run on a Saturday as an example. And that's just something that you can look at straight away that gives you, right, yep, that works, because then I've got a day gap here, that'll be rest. I'll do that. Not the neatest. And then finally we've got, right, training, actually mapping out the training. What does an upper body session look like? What does a lower body session look like? What does a full body session look like? What is the focus with the running? Do I want to be able to run faster? Do I want to be able to run further? All this, as I say, is very specific to the person. And this is basically how I will map out a client's training when they come into the program. They'll basically fill out a questionnaire. I'll get all the information that I need, and then I'll go away and I'll do all this literally for them. And guess what? It could be for you as well. But I thought that would be a good video to give you a little bit more depth, detail, understanding of how you can use that 5-step strategy. If you want to know anything else, then please feel free to drop me a message. Make sure to sign up to those emails. Feel free to click the link in the bio below to apply to the program. And other than that, have a good one.